Good morning, everybody. Just want to get on here live this morning, answer a few questions, hang out with you guys, hopefully get your Wednesday started off in the right place and in the right way. Hopefully all this is coming out loud and clear. Let's see if a couple of you guys show up here and reassure me that I'm not here just talking to myself. Hope you're having a good day. I certainly am. I'm feeling really good. Had a good workout, had a good walk. And there's great, beautiful clouds outside. And I don't know. I just love clouds. And I love starting my day off with a nice kind of cloudy day, which you would think would be the opposite, but I just love that. So, hey, XEL, what's going on? How you liking that keyboard? I think that got to you a couple weeks ago. I hope you're digging it. Hope you're having fun. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, let's see how many of you guys can pop up here. So, Debo man, what's going on? Glad you made it. Good morning. Let's see here. Okay. All right, who else is here? Zell, it wasn't you? I swear I gave you one. Somebody, XEL, had the name, and I gave a keyboard to somebody named XEL. I thought you were the only one. I don't know. Maybe my brain is playing tricks on me. So, Gary, what's up? Welcome from the UK. Awesome. Beyond Dreaming, glad to have you here. Wow, my brain is just not working then, Zell. I gotta look at my email real quick. Is it a different one? There's a different Zell, XELO. Okay. I guess there's two people, or maybe that's your producer name. Yeah, June 30th, I gave somebody named Zell O in Texas a keyboard. So maybe there's two people with the same name. So small world. So all right. Never NDR. What's up, man? New to the chat, but digging your videos. Awesome. Welcome to the channel, dude. Glad you're enjoying it. There's a lot to go through. Sorry about that. It can be really overwhelming. If you go to my main YouTube channel, probably some of the featured videos you'll see just popping up there are probably some of the ones to get started with. But you could really just like search through my videos for pretty much any topic and you'll find probably something on it. I've been doing this for 4 years now, 5 years, 4 years, something like that. So there's a lot on there, man. So welcome to the channel. You're in the right place, and hopefully we can help you out with whatever your questions are as you get started here. So, Panofo, what's up? Oh, there we go. Never render. Got it. Cool, man. Andrew, good morning. Glad you guys are here. If you guys have any questions or anything confusing you or on your mind or bugging you or anything like that, go ahead and post it in the chat. I'll be happy to help you guys out any way I can. I've got about maybe 30 minutes this morning before I got to get on work duties, family duties, a bunch of stuff. There's also an event this week going on that I'm speaking at, and I don't know why my brain's not working right now. It's just not working. But Sync Summit is having an event this week. It's just an online event, and I think it started yesterday. It's going till I guess till Friday. And so I'm kind of getting ready for that too. I think my panel's tomorrow night. Is today Wednesday? Yeah, today's Wednesday. So tomorrow night, I'll be speaking there. So I'm kind of getting ready for that too. So that'll be fun. So yeah, feeling really good today. Yeah, never render. You got it, man. If you have any questions too, like pop them in the chat right now. Because if there's something that you're going through and it's like, especially as a newcomer to the business, I try to always put myself in those shoes of like, if I didn't know anything about this business, how would I want to explain to me? That's how I try to teach everything, is just keep it really simple, like so that first graders can understand it. And it's not that you guys are on first grade level, but anytime you get into a new thing, a new industry, a new side of whatever, you got to make things very, very easy to understand. And you got to clarify all the terms you're using and never assume that people understand what you're saying. So I do try to always bring things down to a really easy, digestible level. But if you got a question, let's put it up there. So I've been curious as to which companies you personally deal with as far as sync goes. I've been looking to a few and setting up my portfolio. So I don't publicly announce who my libraries are that I work with. However, if you're crafty, if you can be a bit of an internet sleuth, you can figure out who I work with. There's actually ways to do that. I'm not going to tell you guys how to do that, though. The reason is because I am here to educate you guys, to help get your career started, help you find some libraries that are right for you. I'm not in the business of supplying competition for myself by broadcasting who I'm working with to I have 22,000 subscribers. So I don't need 22,000 people coming and bombarding the libraries that I work with. So just being real with you guys, that's not what I'm here for. What I'm here for is to educate you guys, to help you guys grow, learn. I can teach you a lot from the mistakes I made, and then point you in the direction of some really great libraries that might be right for you. So first thing I would do is go on my channel and look up a video called How to Find Libraries 100% on Your Own. How to Find Libraries 100% on Your Own. It's a video I made about a year ago or so, and it basically will walk you through how to do your own research, how to find companies, how to decide which ones are going to be the right ones for you. So definitely just start with that video. It's a really, there's a lot of stuff involved with doing your research and finding that stuff out, which is also why I've created a couple of services that'll shortcut your way into finding those companies. So you can learn more about those as well in that video. But if you want to do it 100% yourself and you want to do your own research and you want to, go out there and try to find them, that video will basically be your A to Z. It'll show you exactly how to find them and determine which one is right for you. Because just because they're a music library doesn't mean that your music is right for them. So you got to be a little more picky than that. So hopefully that helps you, man. Are you shadow banned? Feel like most of my chats go invisible. Well, your chat's up on the screen right now, so I think you would have to be not shadow banned for that to happen. So I don't know, man. Sorry. I don't have any moderators. I'm not deleting chats. I don't think I've ever deleted a chat ever. I'm pretty just open with anybody coming in here and doing whatever they want to do. And everybody's, for the most part, I can only maybe like one or two people in the history of this channel have ever been kind of like just trolls and been rude while we've been doing these chats or these Q&As. So it hasn't been much of an issue, thank God. I think just because having a smaller channel, you don't run into as many of those issues. But you guys are just awesome. So you guys make my life a lot better. So thank you. I've been making music for years and I've been touring bands and all, but I've been wanting to dig into sync the past few years. I've researched it, but I was curious if you let the cat out of the bag. Haha. In ways, I'm not going to tell you where my music is, but there is definitely a cat being let out of the bag through SyncEdge. So if you want to sign up for that service, that's where I basically point you in the direction of reputable, high quality music libraries, and usually boutiques, really small ones, not big ones where you're just going to be a small fish in a big pond, but smaller companies, usually mom and pop shops, but they still have great relationships. And I show you what library or what genre would be best for that particular library, how to best impress them, how to best submit your music to them. So essentially doing all that homework for you that could take a long time. And you might not even know how to think about this stuff because it's obviously just a brand new industry. So if you want to kind of sort of get to the quickest pace to, or the fastest path to be able to get accepted. Not that I can guarantee you get accepted. Of course, it's up to the libraries if they like your music. But in terms of finding these companies and having the best possible chances of making a really informed and well-educated, strong pitch to them, I think SyncEdge is basically the best thing you can do. I do have a music library directory as well. So that just has a listing of the 300 plus libraries out there. But again, I don't tell you which libraries are great for which genres. I don't give you any breakdowns of those libraries. That's just simply a PDF. At least it saves you all that time doing the research. You can click on their direct links and decide, oh, okay, I'm going to look these up for myself. But 300 companies can take you some time. So that's why SyncEdge was created. It's sort of more of a quicker pace there. So if you want to learn more, it's syncedge.me. You can learn more about that service. So I think I'm going to pull the trigger on purchasing Native Instruments Contact Complete. Do you think it's worth the money? I think it is. I've used it most of my career in sync licensing. So yeah, I think it's a really, really great plugin. And I think it's one of those sort of go-tos that I can almost create most of the music I've ever made through Contact. So all those different, libraries and those sound libraries that you can put in there. There's pretty much nothing you can't have in there. So I think it's basically a go-to for sure. It's one of my go-to plugins as well. So I do recommend it. All right. MA, I spent a month or two on composing a trailer track, adding detail and sculpting references. Is that normal? It's fairly normal in terms of like it takes a longer time for trailer tracks to be composed. However, I would highly recommend and encourage you to pick it up a little bit. One track a month, that is really, think about it. You're basically putting out one album a year, 12 tracks in a year. The chances of that turning into full-time income, it's going to take you just that much longer. So if you could get down to one track a week, right, which might seem impossible right now, but I think you could actually do it. Then you're just going to be in a faster pace to get to where you want to for full-time income. So it's normal because it's a harder genre to complete faster. It's much more intricate, but I do think you should be pushing yourself to go a lot faster than that. I think one track a week is definitely doable in the trailer world. So. All right, Gary, do I submit my master track to a library and only supply stems, stingers on request, or do I prepare and submit them all? So, great question, man. When you're first submitting to a library, you usually and most of the time do not know what they want, right? Like you just know that they have great music, they have great placements, but you don't know what kind of alt mixes or stems or metadata they need because they're not really putting that out on their website. So rather than creating all those, what you should do is when you send an email to them, just let them know, here's my album, here's my link. By the way, I can supply all alt mixes and stems and metadata upon your request. I'm ready and willing and able to do that as soon as possible. So I would basically wait for them to tell you that they need, let's say 15, 30 second, 60-second, and a sting or something like that, right? So you don't want to be creating all these assets for them, delivering to them, and they go, well, thank you, but we don't need that format. We need this. And by the way, you made them all WAV files. We actually need some of them to be MP3s. Believe it or not, some libraries still work with MP3s or do work with MP3s. So rather than trying to assume and get ahead of the game, it's better just to submit your full album, ready to be streamed, showed it to them. And then in your email, say, I am willing and able and ready to supply you alt mixes and stems. And just letting them know that they know that you kind of know the deal here. You're not sort of new to the business, or you might be new, but at least you know that that's not going to be the end of your transaction, that you're going to have to still do some more work and get them some more assets. So great question, man. Awesome. I've been researching the best for me, and your vids have been insightful. Cool. Glad you're figuring out. I hope you find something that works for you, man. Do any of your libraries take off in the summer or holiday times of the year? The only 2 weeks, basically, that I feel like the industry kind of slows down is pretty much like maybe even 1 week, but really kind of the week before Christmas up until New Year's. The last 2 weeks of December are pretty much just people are out. They're gone. They're on vacation. Nobody's doing anything. No production's going on. Everything is basically just shut down. So I think that's the only 2 weeks of the year that I feel like you just probably should give yourself a little time off as well. Rest, relax, be with your family, maybe even take time completely away from music, reset your ears kind of a thing. But the summertime, no. Summertime, there's a lot of production, there's a lot of commercials. And summertime is when they're actually starting to get ready for the Christmas productions, right? Christmas commercials, Christmas specials, Christmas TV shows, movies, all that kind of stuff. So the holiday stuff is starting to ramp up actually during the summer and into the fall. So no, it's just those last 2 weeks that people take off. So. All right, Dimple Man. So I took your advice a while back about a library that I haven't contacted me in a month. Finally hit them up to see if they were tied up on other clients, and someone finally hit me up to let me know that I'm just going to just be moving on. I'm making more music, try to pitch to another library, and maybe it's time for me to start shipping my current tracks that were reviewed to another library. What would you do? I didn't catch them. What did they tell you? I finally had to see if they were tied up on other clients. And finally, somebody hit me up to let me know that I'm going to be just moving on. So did they say they are just working with other clients, or I didn't catch what their reasoning for was. But if they gave you an answer that was just kind of like, we'll get back to you later, then yeah, I would be done. Like a month? You said it was a month, right? Yeah, a month is too long, man. You got to move on. So if you haven't signed any contract with them, they don't own those tracks, they're not distributing those tracks, you can just take those tracks and do what you want. You might want to send them a courtesy notice to say, thanks for letting me know, but I'm what do you call it? Like I am going to take my tracks back, and I'm going to just move on with another company because I need to be getting these tracks placed. If there's ever a situation where you feel like my tracks would be useful for your company, feel free to reach out. I still would never like burn a bridge or try to be like rude to them or something like that. Send a courtesy notice. I think that's a really good thing to do, so that you never know. In 6 months, a year, they might come to you and say, "Hey, we're really ready for you now. Sorry, we were really backed up with something." Who knows, right? We all get busy and life gets busy. So, all right. You've been making music in many different genres: drum and bass, pop, metal, reggae, and then you have the next part here. I think it's best to narrow my sound and keep it varied. Yes, narrow it down, man, because I'm sorry to be a bubble burster, but you are not equally as great in all of those genres. I've never heard your music, never met you, but I can already guarantee you, you're not equally proficient in all of those. Okay. I guarantee you, if you're honest with yourself, there's probably one, maybe two that you really are just like, I do this really, really well. The other ones, I kind of do it, but it's not quite like the best it can possibly be. Right. So I would definitely narrow it down to one particular genre. And when you come to a library, you have to realize that you will not become hey, I can produce every type of genre you ever need. You'll never succeed. It's like master of all, or whatever, jack of all trades, master of none. It's that approach that will not get you anywhere. It's better to narrow it down, find one of those, let's say it's, drum and bass, and become the library's go-to drum and bass producer. That's how you're going to get your foot in the door. Later on, you will be able to open yourself up into more genres. Trust me, I've done many, many genres in this business. But when I started, I was pretty much just the rock guy. It was like a rock hip hop sort of hybrid style that I was getting into. And that's how they knew me. Later on, I got into EDM. Later on, I got into some acoustic kind of softer rock. Later on, I even did some orchestral work. So you will vary your genres as you get further into the business. But in the start, come to them with a single album of one genre and make sure it's one that you really, really love, that you can see yourself producing a lot, at least for a first year or two, a lot of that music, and build up your catalog that way. Those are my 2 cents on that. So awesome. You're welcome, Andrew. All right. Madi, hope you're doing well. I am. Thank you. Hope you're doing well too. So I've been producing for 2 years now and doing many genres. I can ask you, can you be a sync licensed producer and also a music industry producer? You can, but just know that if you want to do sync licensing in terms of serious full-time income, you can't dabble here, right? This is something that if you really want this to be what's paying your bills consistently with those back-end royalties, you really got to double down. You got to put all your energy into this side of the business. If you're basically, I can't imagine you're trying to run like an artist's career while you're also doing sync licensing. I don't know how you have the energy and the time and the focus to be able to do both. So I think you can definitely, I would say, pick one of those two that's going to be more of your focus and let the other one be sort of the outlet, right? So if you're going to be really more of an artist, focus on that. Build up your fan base, get yourself touring, whatever you're going to do, trying to get a deal. I don't know, whatever your goals are. And then when you have some downtime, you throw a little bit to the sync licensing industry as a sort of secondary source of income. Or you can even, as an artist, you can go hire a sync agent that will represent your music as an artist to sync licensing companies. And they can do that without sort of tying up the distribution. So you can still put your music out on Spotify and everywhere you want to. So a sync agent might be a better path for you if you want to basically focus on being an artist. I don't believe in sort of, hey, can I do this and that? You can, but then you're going to be half as good at each of them. And half as good is not enough these days. Like, you've really got to double down and focus 100%. And we talked about your question. All right. Fabian, what's up, man? I'm wondering, do the placement companies put up cover all their placements, or just big ones they get? Put up covers? I'm not getting that question, Fabian. If you can rewrite that one, man. Placement companies put up cover all their placements. Are you talking about fees that they pay? Are you talking about artwork for the covers? Like, I'm not really getting that one, man. So try to reword that one, please. Want to collaborate, pin a country song for NSAI? No, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm not really doing collaborations these days, but I appreciate that. So he said, sorry about the typo. So the person was originally reviewing my tracks, went on leave of absence, and that someone else was going to take over and review my tracks. That is where I'm at now. Okay, yeah. I would, if they didn't give you, like, when they responded back to you and didn't tell you exactly, here's when we're going to review your tracks, we're going to do it this week or whatever, they didn't give you a definite answer. They just gave you another story of like, well, somebody left and somebody's coming and we're going to get to it. I'd still move on. To me, it's like, after a month, I need like a definite, like, hey, we're going to do this Tuesday. Like, I want to hear something a little bit more concrete than we'll get to it, and here's what's kind of going on. So thanks for the clarification on that. But yeah, I would definitely move on at that point. All right. My PRO I'm registered with is based in the UK, the PRS. I want to submit my music to American libraries. Is this okay? Absolutely, man. We have members from all over the world in Sync Edge and in Sync Academy that are members of all different types of PROs. And US libraries will accept foreign producers and composers. No problem. I will tell you, if you plan on working mostly with American libraries, right? Not just like one and then other stuff you're doing in the UK, but if you plan on actually getting 100% into the US market, I would encourage you to think about switching from PRS directly to BMI, which you can do. I have a video on my YouTube channel showing you guys how to do that. Reason being is because when you work in the US, I don't think it's a wise idea to be having a foreign PRO in charge of collecting royalties over here in the States. I think you're going to have many more issues in terms of losing placements, losing royalties, metadata issues, just from all the different people that are communicating in the PROs in the different countries communicating, trying to get you your money. I don't think that it's probably the best way to go. I think it's better to just work with the local PRO, BMI, and then have them directly pay out your royalties to you in the UK. You will have to pay US taxes on that. There's a form that you'll have to fill out. So I think it's called the W8BEN. So there's a form you do have to fill out if you're going to be doing all that kind of stuff. But I do recommend that, especially if you think the American industry is where you really want to focus. You want to work most with American PROs. So that's my 2 cents on that. So. Fabian, I know that you're mainly a rock producer, but I know you eventually started producing EDM. How was that transition, and who were some of the artists you used as reference? So the transition was really not too bad. I just started really getting into EDM music. I'd gone to a couple of clubs, and this is when I was, 24, 25, so much younger. And I remember listening to, it was like deadmau5, Cascade, Avicii. There was probably a couple handful more that I can't remember now, but I would go to dance clubs just on the weekends, and I would hear this music and go like, I fell in love with it. I just loved the music. It just sounded like flowers were floating out of the speakers. It was just the most beautiful music I had heard. And it basically just got me excited about that genre. And so as I was getting excited about it, I don't remember exactly how I eventually transitioned into EDM. I might have just started trying to produce it. And I think I might have just asked my library, like, do you guys want some 4 on the floor dance music? Like, I'm kind of getting into that. Could I produce some for you? It probably was as simple as that. And they said, sure. I can't remember. I mean, it's been many, many years. So I don't remember exactly how I got into it. My first couple of EDM tracks, not that good. It took a while, just like everything, it took a while before I finally got the full feel of it, and before I got the full, like, mix to sound better, and got better sounding synths and all that kind of stuff. So, just like everything else, you kind of suck at it in the beginning. You're just kind of faking it, pretending like you know what you're doing, and then you get better. But yeah, that was a really fun one to get into EDM. I have quite a few albums actually for EDM, all different types. I did a lot of dubstep. I did just sort of straight up dance. I did kind of pop dance. So I did a lot of different things there. So have I ever tried my hand at trailer music? No, I actually haven't. Trailer music is really, really high quality, and I make high quality music too. I'm not trying to discount myself, but it is on a level that I'm not really prepared to take that much time and attention to detail to do. So I think it's awesome music, and it's beautiful and it's wonderful. But I just know that my skill set is more in, I like composing, cool riffs. I like to build songs that have a verse and a chorus and a bridge and that kind of thing. I think I just know myself. That's where I really shine. That's where I really love to be. Trailer music is more, it's awesome. It sounds great. It's really fun. It's really intense. It's really cool. But it just, when I hear it, it doesn't make me want to go create it. I don't know how to describe that other than just like, I appreciate it as an art form, but it doesn't really speak to me in terms of, oh yeah, that's something I could really do. I probably could if I wanted to really jump into that. But, and if you guys don't know, I do recommend directly that if you're going to get into trailer music, again, you don't probably just dabble in it. It's not one of those styles where you can be like, oh, I'll try a little trailer music. No, I mean, if you go check out, especially some of the recommendations I have in Sync Edge, some of these trailer houses, like, this stuff is on 11. It's really, really high quality stuff, extremely professionally produced, mixed and mastered. So you're not going to just dabble a little bit in trailer music and do well. Like, it's got to become your religion. Like, you got to live and breathe trailer music if you're going to have any chance of competing and succeeding in that business right now. So if that is you, then go for it. I'm not trying to scare you guys away from it, but just know that it's not really a sort of, I'll try my hand in that. I'll give it a shot. I don't think that works that way. I think that's one of those that you really got to like 100% just double down on. So, Panufo, what's up, man? I know you don't usually listen to your stuff on TV, but have you heard an instance where they just use your drums and bass? I don't know if I've ever heard when they've used my drums and bass, but we had a syndicate member actually have a placement on, what was that show? It was some fashion show. I can't even remember what it's called now. There was a fashion show. I think it was on I can't even remember the network or anything right now. Was it something Star? Something Star was in the title of the TV show. I can't remember what it was now, but one of our members had his literal just drum and bass thing playing for like 30 or 40 seconds behind this one scene. So definitely, and it's happened. And I know I've probably had some of my placements on my royalty checks that show that, but no, I've never actually heard it myself for my own music on TV. So you got to get back to work. All cool, man. Do I host live chats on weekends or evenings? I don't really have a schedule, man. The only time that you can count on a live Q&A from me is through Sync Edge, like I mentioned before. We do monthly Q&As in that program, and I do it always on a Saturday and always at 9 a.m. And usually it's like the middle Saturday of the month. And I always send out an email to all the members a couple of days beforehand so you can prepare and be there. So Saturday in the morning is kind of like, well, most people aren't working. Most people hopefully can be there and join us. So that's the only time that I can guarantee you that I will be there and I can give you these things. Other than that, man, it's just kind of when my life allows me to get on here and do this. I can't give you guys like every Wednesday, every Friday. You know, I don't know. Some of you guys are new to the channel. I have an 8-month-old baby. So I've got a lot of responsibility in my life. If any of you guys are fathers, mothers, you guys know that you don't really get to schedule so much of your life when you got a newborn. You just kind of have to, you know, hey, we'll just kind of get to work when we possibly can. So right now, I'm just not able to do that kind of a thing. But definitely Sync Edge is where you can get me 100%. Like I'll always be there every single month. Okay, here's a clarification on our earlier question. Do the placement companies put up on their website every single placement or just the big ones? Just the big ones, man. So when you go to a website or a music library website is what he's talking about. Yeah, if they had put up every single placement they have, they would have to have multiple pages that you'd be scrolling down because we're talking about thousands, tens of thousands of placements, hundreds of thousands of placements, a lot depending on the library. So no, they're usually just going to show you off like here's our big notable ones, our bigger clients, the ones that you've probably maybe even seen yourself and like, oh, that's cool, they did that music. So it's more of just like a show and tell thing. But no, if they showed you really what they've done, it's like it's unbelievable. Do I get briefs directly through email or do you have to go see for yourself? So when I was more active in the industry, these days I'm really just more doing this stuff, you know, YouTube and Sync Academy, Sync Edge, all that kind of stuff. But when I was much more active in the business, I was getting briefs directly through my email, and that's just through the relationships I had. So if you partner directly with a library, they should be sending you briefs right through your email. Sometimes even through a text. Like I got briefs through a text, like, "Hey, we need something like this. Can you do this?" They would text me a little link to a reference track on YouTube. Check this out. Like sometimes that's where your brief comes in. It can come in all different types. It can be a phone call. They can just tell you on the phone what they're looking for. So it comes in all different types. But I would say definitely email is the most common that you'll probably see in this business for sure. So awesome. Clear and precise advice. I'm going to go full time on Sync now and join Sync Edge. Awesome, man. Well, we're glad to have you, and hopefully you can join us for our next Q&A, which will be next week or next month in August. So awesome, man. Since I'm from North Africa, I just want to ask if I would be able to work with American libraries. Yes, absolutely. We had this question before. Anybody who's a foreigner, not in the US, you can definitely work with US libraries. On my channel, all of you guys who are out of the country and want to work in the US, it's called, let me actually look it up right now. I might be even put in the chat. Make sure you guys get this. So I think it's foreign sync. Let's see if I can find it. How foreign producers can work in the US sync licensing industry. I'm going to put this in the chat right now. Hopefully you guys can use it. I don't know if that would work. Does that work for you guys? Can you actually do that? I don't know if YouTube allows clickable links in there. So it's called, I'm going to actually just copy and paste this title too so you guys can find it as well. How foreign producers can work in the US sync licensing industry. A few things, actually a lot of moving parts to that kind of question, so I won't go into it now, but definitely go check that out. What about Taxi? Taxi's not for me. I tried them many years ago. A lot of you guys probably heard me say this. I sound like a broken record. Didn't work for me. Didn't get great feedback. We asked for a refund. It just wasn't really working for me. I had a band many years ago. And I know some people have really great things to say about them. What I don't like about the business model is that it's basically a middleman, right? It's you. They're basically in between you and the opportunities with the libraries. My whole point of view is why not have you directly partner with the library so that you can get those opportunities directly from them and have a personal relationship with them. You don't need to have somebody sending you opportunities. You can directly pitch your music to these companies. So if you can go direct to the source, why wouldn't you? Right. And so that's why everything that I'm teaching is basically how to directly pitch to those companies. I don't want to be in the middle of anything. I don't want any business. It's not even so much about like not wanting money or anything. I just don't want the headache of the paperwork and the back and forth. I hate I just don't want to work. I really don't want to do any of that kind of stuff. And if you always have a middleman between you and the people that are giving you opportunities, you're always one step away, right? You're always one step behind where you probably should be. So I don't recommend those kind of companies, that kind of approach to do this. I think you just go right to the libraries. Like, libraries are open. Most of their websites, if you guys aren't aware, have a artist submit your music here link right on their websites. Like, it's not like the record business where they're like, no unsolicited submissions, don't send us any music. Most of these guys are brand, opens the doors are wide open, right? So you can just send your music directly to these companies, and why not? Do you know any composers who made a full-time income off of strictly trailer music? Yeah, there's definitely a few. I don't know if I know them personally, but I've definitely seen and heard stories of people that do trailer music, and they do this nonstop. In fact, actually, I should say there's one guy that I do know personally. He was Edmund Red, which is one of our composers in Sync Academy. He's a trailer music composer, and he 100% works on his music for his career. So he's definitely one guy I can definitely point to say I know him. But there's plenty others that do that for sure. So. How many hours a day did you use to compose in the beginning of your career? How many days a week? So I would pretty much compose every day, but I had a full-time job like you guys probably do. And I would, let's see, I'd probably work for like 2 or 3 hours every weekday. And then the weekends, that's pretty much all I did. It was sun up to sundown, 8, 10 hours, 12 hours, just kind of doing it as long as I possibly could before I just burned out. So yeah, I just basically took every opportunity that I possibly could and started doing that. So hopefully that answers that question. Awesome, man. Glad you joined us. Yeah, check out SyncEdge, syncedge.me if you want to learn more about it. What are the deadlines for syncing music always so tight? Or why are the deadlines for syncing music always so tight that they need it yesterday? It seems to be a case in all types of placements. You're absolutely right, MA. And the reason is because music is the last thing on the list of things that got to get done for a TV show or movie or commercial. So music is always the last on the budget. It's always last on the line of like, we're going to do this, we're going to film, we're going to shoot, we're going to edit. And now we need to have music. And because it's like the last in the line, they have deadlines to try to get this thing out, get it onto air, get it to TV, get it distributed, get it to wherever it is. And music is just like the end of that. So basically it just feels like the tightest. So if they had given you the sort of, instructions a month before and you had a month to do it, then yeah, it'd be great. But it's basically unfortunately, you're the last pig, the last little person on this assembly line putting your touch on it. And they want to get it, they're anxious to get it released as soon as possible. So you're basically kind of in a really tough spot. That's why our job is always, it feels like you got 24 hours, you got 48 hours. And it's a really cool, interesting thing you brought that up, that you noticed that, but it's absolutely true. All right. Young Star, what's up? What do you do when you receive a brief with no reference tracks? They've explained what they want, but don't have any musical tracks as a direction. I do my best to try to interpret it. Sometimes I will try to get them on the phone or email them and say, can you supply a reference track? So if they just don't give me one in the initial one, I'll say, hey, this to me sounds like you guys want to go for a kind of blah, blah, blah artist or this song or that song. Am I right? Am I interpreting this right? So communication is basically your best friend in that situation. Just ask them, what can I possibly do to get closer to what you guys are looking for? Best thing you can do is say, can you supply me a reference track? So it makes them have to go kind of find exactly what it is that they're really looking for. But if they say, no, man, like we just need this in 5 hours, there's no reference track, just do your best with this. Just do your best. That's really it, right? There's really nothing else you can do with that. You just try to interpret it the best you can. One thing you can do is afterwards, if you don't get the placement, is try to find out which track did, and then kind of analyze that and go like, that track is really, really close to what they were asking for. Mine, I can see how mine was a little bit off. So you can kind of do sort of like a post-mortem breakdown of what happened and maybe, learn something for next time so you can interpret the briefs a little bit better, right? All right. Tay, what's up, man? I got a few placements with the library and they have recently sent a few placements. They need the next day, which I don't have the type of songs they need. Does it hurt my chances with the library? No, not at all. Like if they're asking for something and you can't provide it because it's not really your style, it's better to be honest about that. I mean, I think you could definitely say something like, I would love to give a shot at this opportunity. I just want to let you guys know that this is not my particular forte. But thank you so much for including me. So just showing like appreciation and that you are willing to be a team player, but it's really just not in your wheelhouse. That's the honest way to respond to that. It's definitely better than like, oh, no problem, I got you. And you send something that's just garbage, just terrible, like not even close to what they wanted, that will hurt your brand in their eyes much more than just saying, hey, I appreciate you guys including me, but this just isn't my strength. I think they're going to respect you a lot more if you just kind of give them that more honest response, man. So gotten a few placements from Taxi, but they're difficult. Okay, cool. All right. Aaron, what's up, man? Super new to sync libraries. If I wanted to dedicate myself to create background music for streamers and vloggers, would a site like Pond5 be a good start? And what do you recommend? Yeah, I think if you wanted to go more for the kind of micro licensing, right? Probably not so much back end royalties, but you want to get just more into some upfront fees and some upfront payments, royalty free stuff, then yeah, Pond5 is one. There's a whole bunch of those websites out there that do that. One thing though is Pond5 recently cut the royalty rate or the payment rate for all their composers. I can't remember what it was, but it might have been 50-50 and now it's like 60-40 or something like that. I don't remember, but I made a video about it. It was like a year and a half ago when that all went down. So one thing about those websites is it's kind of sort of the, without trying, I don't want to sound mean, but it's basically like the sort of cheap seats. It's like the lowest possible discount music you can possibly get. And because you're there, you're the first one to get discounted as well, right? So you're kind of the bottom of the barrel as in the composer world. So these companies can just change their terms and you start losing your money. And they just say, oh, well, now you're going to make a little less because they got to make more money. They got to stay in business and yeah, whatever, So that's the only thing I have a little bit of a, issue with those kind of companies. But if that's where you want to get started and that's where you feel, I definitely would go check it out. I think, Stock Music Musician, Evan. He actually used to be one of our members in Sync Academy. He's got a YouTube channel. I think it's called Stock Music Musician. He's all about the Pond5 thing. He's going in that direction. So you might want to go check out some of his videos. I think he can probably help you guys out a lot. Thank you. Oh, congrats, man. 1 year, man. Yeah, we're closing in on our 1 year. So congrats to you. Hey, is it normal for libraries to not have statements showing who has had their music in the past? Do the PROs usually only have those statements? Well, you're talking about a royalty statement. Yes. Well, the libraries will have that royalty statement, but you're not going to take a look at it. That's like asking for somebody's tax returns. Like you don't have any reason to be looking at that. They're not going to show that to you. And the PROs obviously have a copy and they have all the information about who they paid and how much they paid and all that kind of stuff. So if they don't have, I mean, I would say it's mostly about their website. Their website should be showcasing what they've placed, but I don't think that they're going to ever give you a statement of what their royalties are. And if they say no to you, they're not hiding anything. I should say they are hiding something, but it's not because they're not successful. It's because you don't need to know what they're making. You don't need to see their income. So if that's what you're asking for, you're never going to get that from a library. That's basically like asking somebody for, let me see your bank statement. Let me see how much you're making. Like they're never going to give you that, right? What platform would I recommend putting on your portfolio? I would say you create your own website. I have a 1 hour tutorial. I'm going to post it in the chat. And here it is. This is how to build your website in 1 hour on Wix. And I basically have an entire walkthrough for you. So you don't have to be a designer. You don't have to know what you're doing at all. And in 1 hour, you can have a custom URL website with your picture, with your name as the URL. And it looks much more professional than just sending a SoundCloud link or just sending, whatever, a disco link or something like that. So I do think that having your own website is like basically putting on the suit and tie and showing up for an interview. All right. Recommendation, join Sync Academy and Syndicate if you can. Great resources and opportunities. Awesome, man. Thank you for that. All right, 2 more questions, and then we're going to pop out of here. I have my IPI in a couple of weeks. Obviously, this is unique. Can I use my UK PRO as you suggested, and also a US-based PRO for targeting US industry or just one? So what you need to do is if you want to do it that way, you have to go talk to PRS, and you have to let them know that you want BMI to represent you for the US placements and opportunities you have. So it can be done, but you don't do it yourself. You need to basically go ask for essentially a permission slip from PRS and say, hey, I want to work with US companies. I want BMI to represent me in the US territory. And they can give you a sort of permission to do that. So that would be what I would say is go talk to them directly. They have a way for you to do that. All right. This will be our last question, and then I'm going to head off, guys. How do licensing companies charge clients? Is the upfront fee for placements seem arbitrary, like the same track being pitched for 1,000 versus 10,000? So, great question. So, there's basically two main ways that a library will charge their clients. One will be a per usage sync fee. So they'll say, "Here's our 10,000 songs in our catalog. Let us know what you want, and then we can negotiate how much you pay per each one of those tracks." So let's say it's a trailer house or a trailer company, and they need to have a lot of trailer music. They're going to put together like 10 trailers tracks. They're going to put it into this trailer series that they're putting together. So they can say, well, if you're going to get 10 tracks, we can give you like a bulk discount on all of those, right? So that might determine how much each one of those tracks is going to gain. It might just be one track for an international Nike commercial, and it's like super, super valuable, right? So that might be like, hey, you're only taking one track. We're going to charge you a premium because you're using it in a international, well-known brand. This thing's going to be carrying your guys' company for a long time. There's a premium there, right? So there's so many factors and variables, and there are no set like rates in this business. So it's just the Wild West. It's what people are willing to pay. It's how valuable the music is. It's how valuable the asset is, all that kind of stuff, right? So that's one way, is just these sync fees. The other way is a blanket license fee, where basically the library will tell their client, you can use everything in this catalog or maybe a portion of our catalog for the next year for $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, whatever they determine is valuable and whatever they can kind of negotiate. And basically what that allows their client to do, let's say the client makes a bunch of reality TV shows, and they can't go like, well, we got to negotiate every time we put a background cue in. Because if you watch reality TV, it's like there's 100 cues in an episode. Like, they're not going to do that. They need to have it like a buffet where they can just go, we need an EDM track that's kind of spacious and uplifting. Boom, got it. In. They can just go and grab what they need as soon as possible. So usually that's when a blanket license would be applied. Unfortunately, when you have a blanket license, a lot of libraries do not split that blanket license with the composers. A few of them are starting to, and I've definitely worked with some that are doing that, which is awesome, and I always appreciate them when they do that. But a lot of libraries, they don't share that with their composers. The composers are only getting the royalties, right, with whatever comes out. I still think royalties are really where you need to focus on. I don't think sync fees or blanket fees are really the main focus. At least in my career, it hasn't been the main focus of my income. Those have been sort of like the icing on the cake, the cherry on top. But it's really been my royalties that has really been the cake. It's really been the thing that's actually carried me through to do this full time. Sync fees are usually, not always, but usually split 50-50. So if you have a library that's charging per usage, usually, not all the time, it can be 75-25, 60-40, sometimes none. Sometimes libraries do not split those with you. So you need to make sure you're all clear on that before you work with them and decide, am I comfortable with these kind of terms? But usually, in all cases, 50-50 is usually where people are going to be split. So hopefully that answers that question. So, all right, guys, I'm going to get on with my day. I hope you guys do as well, and stay productive, stay motivated, stay happy. And we'll see you guys next week with a couple of new great videos here on the channel. Definitely go and look through my videos. If you're new to the channel, welcome. All of you guys that are brand new, just kind of learning about this whole weird, crazy world of sync licensing, go through my channel, and also probably more importantly, go to my free course. It's a 5-part course series. It's going to teach you everything from how to like understand the bird's eye view of this business to how to really prepare your mindset for success, because it's not an easy journey, but it is a possible journey to do music full time. So if you just go to syncmymusic.com, you'll see a link right there for a free course that you can get started with today if you'd like to. So it's a really great, powerful free course for you guys to go check out. All right, guys, have a good one. We'll talk soon.